Good morning, America. Monday morning rail. How are ya? We'll be 500 miles before the day is done. I'm your native son. They call me the City of New Orleans. Hi, I'm Denny Jelsma, and I'm at the world famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum. And today is Monday, and you know what we do on Monday? You guessed it, we do show and tell. And show and tell is going to start real quickly, but before that, this show is always brought to you by Jelsma Graphics, the railroad embroiderer, makes all the railroad embroidered clothing. Go to jelsma.com for all your embroidery needs for railroads. With all that being said, show and tell starts right now. Show and tell starts right now. It's Monday morning, and I have an exciting train to talk about, and I'm going to talk about a lot of the night trains. You know, the night trains were very important to the railroad. And you say, what do you mean by night trains? These are trains that were scheduled, let's say, after 9 o'clock at night, and they would get into their destination city, usually at 6 to 7 up to 9 o'clock in the morning. And they were very popular with the businessman. You got to remember, businessmen didn't fly back then. They rode trains, and they rode trains all the way up into the 60s. And so these night trains were very, very important. A few weeks ago, we did a show and tell on the Burlington's Denver to Billings, the Shoshone. And that train left at like 11 o'clock at night, and it was a night train. And a lot of businessmen took it. And it was very common in the different markets, Chicago to Minneapolis, Chicago, Omaha. They had night trains. But the train I want to just focus in was the St. Louis to the Chicago market. And they had a lot, the Chicago to St. Louis was a very competitive market. They had a lot of trains. You know, they had the Gulf Mobile in Ohio, the Alton, which was merged into the Gulf Mobile in Ohio. I could just go on and on of the different trains that they had in between Chicago and St. Louis. Even the Chicago Eastern Illinois got involved in that. And it was very competitive, but the Wabash was a major player, and the train I'm going to talk about is the Midnight Limited, train number 17 and 18. And the Wabash is very dear to my heart, and typically the Wabash pulled most of their trains in the with the E units. Later on they went into the GP 7s and 9s with steam generators, but they very, very popular was the E7s, and to the flats of Illinois at night. Now officially this train would go 79 miles an hour, but you talk to some of the crews and they would hit 90 to 100 miles an hour in some of the areas. And the night trains was really designated, and the marketing went after the businessman, because he could have a full day in the office, go home, have dinner with his family. His wife takes him down to the Union Terminal in St. Louis, and the train left at 11:55, got into Chicago around 6 o'clock in the morning. They had to vacate it by 7:30, so he had a nice sleep on the train. And this train basically, it had some head-in equipment depending upon the time of year. Sometimes they'd have 5, 6, 7, 8 head-in equipment. But my model that I have here, we have an RPO, we have a baggage, and this train stopped at most of the major cities in Illinois. Not not every little milk station town, but anyhow. It had a coach with reclining seats, so it was very comfortable if the person did not want to pay for the Pullman. And then it usually had 3 to 4 Pullmans. What I have here is 3, and it was either a 14-1 or a 12-1 type of sleeping accommodation. What I have here is kind of an unusual observation car, and this was a extra fare car. This car originally was on the city of St. Louis, and it was called the Salt Lake City. And Wabash was in partners with the Union Pacific, and it ran a train called the City of St. Louis, and it went to Los Angeles. Wabash took it from St. Louis to Kansas City, and UP took it over. But this car, as you can see here, when UP modernized and got new equipment for the city of St. Louis, they put this into their general pool, and it was you have a nice drum head, and that's why this car appeared on the Midnight Limited many times, and beautiful car. It was very popular for the top executives. They would want their sleeping car to be in this. But the night trains, once again, was very important to the railroads, because once again they catered to the businessman. This car did not have any sleep. I mean, it had a sleeping car and a coach, no kind of dining, because the train didn't leave till usually these trains were scheduled from 9 until midnight, and there was just no need for a dining car. But the Midnight Limited always had a nice observation, so the high-end businessman could book that. And so this is the Midnight Limited of the Wabash Railroad, and that's the way it is at the world famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, where the sun always shines and running trains is an absolute pleasure.